MA rated 98-minuter. Looking every bit like a 10-year-old girl, Lena, that's L-E-E-N-A, played by Isabel Fuhrman, is in reality 31. She looks like a 10-year-old, but she's 31. The most dangerous patient in an Estonian psychiatric institution. She's particularly devious. She's manipulative. She's opportunistic. She's also deadly. So it is she escapes from this facility. She poses as the long-lost young daughter named Esther. Bear in mind, her name is Lena, but she poses as Esther, the daughter of a wealthy American family that disappeared 4 years earlier and are now going to be reunited. And the father, Alan Albright, played by Ross of Sutherland, who is a gifted artist who lost his mojo when his daughter disappeared, he in particular is ecstatic. They bond. Not so the mother, Tricia, played by Julia Stiles, nor their 16-year-old son, Gunnar, Matthew Finlan. Lena tries to keep up the charade, but there are cracks in the stories that she weaves. Also suspicious is the policeman, Detective Donan, played by Hiro Kanagawa, who handled Esther's disappearance back when this first occurred. Of course, Lena's sinister impulses haven't dissipated, and when she acts upon those, a significant twist occurs, for all is not as it seems. And it appears that Lena is not the only one hiding a dark secret in Orphan First Kill. I've got to say, better than I imagined. I mean, it's intriguing. It's a well-woven horror with surprises aplenty. And you know, it's kind of like, oh, this is a guilty type pleasure. That's the sort of movie it is. I give plaudits to the scriptwriter, David Coggeshall, who was responsible for the movie Prey. He worked on a story from David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick and Alex Mace. And we have to go back to the fact that there was an original called Orphan. This is a prequel. The original Orphan came out 13 years ago, and you've still got the same actor who played the same character 13 years ago in this one. And she was really good in the original, and she's very, very, very strong again here. So the director, by the way, is William Brent Bell, who ensures there's never a dull moment. Action unfolds at quite a decent clip. And as I say, I appreciated Isabel Fuhrman's performance as evil incarnate. She certainly acts the part, the demonic tag seemingly sitting rather comfortably on her shoulders. And I also thought the other standout was Julia Stiles as the society wife with decided smarts of her own, and the game that she and Lena play, mighty dangerous. It's fun to watch play out, though, and I thought that they were the two standouts. What did you think, Greg? Have you seen Orphan First Kill?
Yeah, I was there on Wednesday night when we saw it there. As you said, this is a prequel to the film Orphan there, so it sort of gives you the backstory of how this psychotic kid came to America. And she finds herself stuck in this family that's every bit as nasty as she is. And Isabella plays one of these creepy kids that sort of feature in horror films. Think of films like The Omen, The Boy, and all those kind of things. And she does a good job, I think, as conveying that sense of slow burn menace that she has there. This is an intriguing slow burn horror film there that sort of erupts at the end there with everything going on. Julia Stiles, as you said, was good as a cold mother there. And I thought the director, William Brent Bell, handled the material quite stylishly there. It's not your average horror film with a slasher killer there. It's much more subtle in it goes, but it's quite entertaining by the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the key here. I was really engaged and entertained throughout, and I think that's that real test. If you can get a film like that are going to draw people in, because some people are going to like horror straight away. But I think it's got even broader appeal than that, quite frankly, even though a lot of people, I dare say, are going to say, oh, no, there's going to be bloodshed, I'm not going to go along and see it. Yeah, I suppose I went in there not expecting a great deal and came out pleasantly surprised. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, look, I love the original film. The original film has become a cult classic amongst horror fans, but this film is the result of what happens when horror fans point out a plot hole in a film. Because the reason this film exists is because Alex Mace and David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, what a long name, couldn't rest when critics and fans pointed out in the first film that there was a little bit of a plot point on how an orphan would have got to America to have been adopted by a family. So they sat on this for years, that criticism, and gone, you know what? We're going to make a prequel that's going to show that we were right in the first place. So much pressure on the people behind this film because of how much the first film was loved, but I think they were up to the task. I interviewed the director, and he said that he's never felt more pressure on a film because he knew that this was a fan favourite. And I think they've delivered it. This film has suspense. It captures the essence of the first film. The character of Esther is what we saw in the first film as well. So it's so tight that it works. And that's very, very rare in the horror genre when a prequel is made, that it actually holds up to the first film as well.
Well put. In fact, you think about the pressure on filmmakers. You get a standout movie, not in one genre, but a broad-based film. Think about Star Wars, and anybody who puts their hand up, or anybody who makes a Bond movie or whatever, the weight of expectations on their shoulders to begin with, regardless of any money they might be paid, if you get it wrong, or you get elements wrong, you're immediately called to account, and you may not be working in Hollywood at that level again. So you can extrapolate from what you've just said to make that broader point. What do you think, Peter?
Look, I was ready to dismiss this film early on because I thought, here's another standard genre horror, nasty revenge, whatever sort of film. And then the twist. And it's a bit like The Sixth Sense and so on. We have to be careful as reviewers that we don't give away a major plot point. And that twist in the storyline is what grabbed me and kept me interested.
Absolutely.
For the rest of the film.
And the way it comes about, Peter, it's not as if there's nothing to lead up to it until you then think about it afterwards. And it just happens. And you're thinking, wow, did that really happen? You kind of do a double take, and I thought that was sensational.
It was, and that's what really kept me intrigued. But it's so interesting how we do have to be careful not do spoilers, and because I think that's such an important part of the film, that plot twist. And it was really interesting to see Isabel Fuhrman reprising her role. And as you say, she's 31 years of age or whatever, and still looks like a teenager. It's incredible the way that was shot. So look, I was quite impressed by this film by the time it concluded. I thought it was a very clever genre piece and played out very well indeed, I thought.
Yeah, the diverse settings in the movie, they're quite alluring, the light and shade. Regardless of that, though, the constant is the inherent darkness in the lead character. And that is what's so... This has bite, there's no question about that. She was really good, Isabel Fuhrman, in the original. She and this prequel have quite a bit going for them. So, folks, it's worth... And you don't need to have seen the original. That's the other thing. It's okay. If you've seen it, I think it's an advantage. But if you haven't, it's not. You can still enjoy this on its own. Orphan First Kill. That's the name of the movie. 98 minutes, MA rated. Score, Peter?
I really liked it. 7 out of 10.
Greg?
6.5 to 7.
And Dave?
I'm giving it 7.5. And an interesting little fact that the director told me as well. The COVID restrictions were so tight when they filmed this film that none of the cast ever saw his face until the film's premiere.
Wow. Gee, that is... Yeah, and I think there'd be lots of situations like that, no question. I'm also giving it a 7.5 out of 10. So that's great. I mean, it's one to watch out for. Joe, yeah, 88 FM...